So, welcome back to Sound Bites, a show about good people doing good things in the food and drink industry. And one of those people is Zach Everett. So, Zach is a farmer, he's a foodie, he's a winemaker, and he's a co owner of a winery. And it may not be in a place you expect. So, welcome to the show, Zach.
Welcome. Great. Really happy to be here.
Okay, so I was alluding to it's in a place that you would not expect. So let's where is Magnetic Hill Winery? People can probably guess by the name, but just in case they can't.
Well, exactly like you pegged it, Mark. People can guess from the name. We're situated on kind of this beautiful escarpment overlooking the whole city of Moncton, a stone's throw from Magnetic Hill. So our farmstead actually used to be the original Magnetic Hill site, and where the zoo and the water park are, used to belong to this farm that we bought now almost 20 years ago.
Wow, yeah. And so it didn't start you didn't really your parents really started it and it didn't really start out as a winery per se, right? What were they doing before you moved into this kind of making wine?
Yeah, well, so I was born and raised a strawberry farmer, so right here in the Moncton region, and that's why we started the winery back in the day, Mark, is so we were strawberry farmers trying to survive as strawberry farmers. And for us, we were looking for products to make that we could sell all year long instead of just products, strawberries that are 2, 3, 4 weeks every summer. And we joked one day that the answer for a maritimer is always alcohol, and ended up started with strawberry wine and raspberry wine and strawberry rhubarb wine from all the fruits that we grew on the farm. But we're marketing it here in Magnetic Hill as our, one of the first local wines in New Brunswick.
Amazing, and you should say they have done quite well for you. I mean, they're spread across every AMBL. They've been very successful in the fruit wine business. But at what point did you say, grapes is a possibility? And I'm sure when you talked about it, there was probably a little pushback from some people about growing grapes in Moncton.
Pushback. We're still encountering, pushback today, to be perfectly honest. But for us, or for me personally, my whole venture into grapes started completely by accident while I was hitchhiking through Europe. I ended up hitchhiking with a German wine family during harvest. They invited me back to the family, or like to their family vineyard, to pick grapes. And then one morning of picking grapes, I fell in love. Like, I knew that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so when I moved back down to Moncton, I had this fun conversation with my parents that went something along the lines of, I knew we promised we'd never grow grapes, but why can't we just grow some? And so did some research, found some varieties that were gonna, for me, that would appear to check the boxes on surviving, making good wine, and making enough wine here in our climate. Went full force in, and full force in. Started with small, and then now, over the last couple of years, we really believe in it ourselves, and now we're full force into grapes as well.
Yeah, so talk about a little bit about the grapes, because I mean, when I was tasting your wines recently, obviously I found there was both a single white varietal and a single red varietal that seemed to be your, call it stars, I guess. Maybe tell a little bit about so what does well in your area, and they really do thrive. I mean, you say we talked about lack of winter kill, which is always an issue in Canada and the Maritimes. Tell us about the two grapes that define Magnetic Hill Winery.
Yeah, well, so the first grape that we planted, we're actually one of the first people in Canada to even plant this grape, is a red varietal called Marquette. And for me, so it comes from the University of Minnesota. They did a lot of research there to find those varieties that do, survive the winter, make good wine, make enough wine. And so we went ahead, planted some Marquette, fingers crossed that it was going to do everything that it looked like on paper was going to be capable of achieving. And it is. We're knocking out of the park now. But we just planted those first vineyards like 2008, 2009. And our first real big vintage from Marquette was 2017. So there's other now local growers in New Brunswick that are also growing Marquette, and it is a really fun, versatile grape that we're just starting to scrape the surface of what's even possible. From our brut kind of sparkling wines all the way up to now our Appassimento and some full-bodied reds. and it's really a fun variety. I really have to honestly say, Mark, the sky's the limit for Marquette in really cool and coastal and those maritime climates. And on the white side of things, we have a grape called Osceola. We planted that. It started off as kind of this very pragmatic approach to grapes, where it was growing in a neighbor, just a hobbyist's garden beside our original farm. And we made one bottle off of those first couple of vines. And we're like, wow, this actually makes good wine. It ripens up early, beautiful aromatics, and the right balance too, like not too acidic, not too sweet. Like it worked really well. So we started propagating those ourselves. And then as we were propagating enough ourselves, then it came to be that variety was actually named and then really kind of commercially viable as well as Osceola Muscat. Or it is technically, it's from Osceola, Wisconsin, so it's Osceola Muscat.
Amazing. Okay, I that's a new fact for me. So there you go. I didn't know that one. Anyway, but both having tried them, Marquette, yeah, you're like you say, performed very well. Really versatile. Really liked it as sparkling, which I hadn't really dug too much into before, but liked it through. And the Osceola, like you say, great aromatics, but not being without being that clumsy sweet style, like nice refreshing acidity. What I also thought about Magnetic Hill, and for people that may be watching from Nova Scotia, is we've become accustomed to going to the Annapolis Valley and seeing all the wineries and staying down there, and I was amazed at Magnetic Hill as a tourist destination. It was busy. Tell us a little bit about that concept, because it's actually quite a spectacular place when you walk in. It's impressive.
No, thanks for the compliments. We know we're definitely onto something with what we're doing. We've always been a family that believes in the location and a guest experience. And so whether it was our strawberry farm and where we situated 30 years ago to today with the winery, it is about convenient location, providing exceptional service. Obviously, your products have to be great as well, but we do it through architecture as well. My parents are absolutely beautiful designers and even construction workers. It is a very rare sight in the Canadian wine scene that the owner is the winemaker, and they're also the architects, and they're also literally the construction workers that built their own winery. So the level of pride and professionalism and that attention to detail, I hate to say it's unmatched, but my parents put in a lot of effort into that architectural side of things, and I work make sure that the wines can match the ambiance that we're trying to provide.
Yeah, so I would say to people watching, like, think of you might not have thought in the past about a day trip to Moncton or a weekend to Moncton for wine, but truly I guess you're crediting your parents and your father for doing is it is a truly special tasting room. It's actually one of the nicest designed tasting rooms I've seen in this country, and really something to behold. So, Zach, congratulations on all the good stuff you're doing. We'll look forward to welcoming you to our Halifax International Wine Fest coming up soon. And thanks for making some great wine and delivering some great hospitality too. So, good on you.
I really appreciate your time this morning, Mark, and look forward to welcoming as many other locals and people from far away to spread the word about what we're up to, making great wines in New Brunswick.
Awesome. Thanks.